Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a pretty fascinating journey back to ancient Rome.
We are indeed. We're digging into the legacies of three absolutely colossal figures: Julius Caesar, Augustus, and Nero.
Right. Think of this as, well, your shortcut to understanding their, let's say, dramatic reigns and their lasting impact.
Exactly. These weren't just names on a list, they were real game changers. Our mission today is basically to pull out the key insights from, a whole stack of sources.
Giving you a fresh perspective on how they really shaped the Roman Empire.
Yeah. And you'll find some surprising facts, maybe even conflicting views.
Oh, absolutely. From a military genius whose death, kind of ironically, sparked an empire.
To this incredibly shrewd political strategist who brought about an era of peace.
And then, well, a very controversial emperor whose reign, quite literally, ended in flames.
Okay, let's dive in.
Let's start with Julius Caesar, often called the architect of transition. Born Gaius Julius Caesar, July 100 BC.
Right, into the patrician Julian family. They even claimed descent from Venus, the goddess.
That's quite a claim. And his early life, it was shaped by his uncle, by marriage, wasn't it, Gaius Marius?
That's right, a very famous general. That connection, exposure to the military and political scene, it definitely gave him a leg up.
But it wasn't just handed to him.
No, not at all. He really cut his teeth with military campaigns out in Asia, and he built a reputation back in Rome as a tough prosecutor going after corruption in the Senate.
And then came that big move in 60 BC,
Right.
the first triumvirate.
Yeah, with Pompey the Great and Marcus Licinius Crassus. A massive power play.
And it's important for you to remember, this triumvirate, it wasn't an official government thing.
Not at all. It was completely informal, extra legal, really, like a backroom deal between these three heavyweights.
Basically allowing them to dominate Roman politics, kind of bypassing the Senate.
Exactly, which really showed the cracks starting to appear in the Republic, didn't it?
Definitely. But Caesar's real military genius, that came later, when he went to Gaul.
Oh, absolutely. Appointed governor in 58 BC, and for the next 10 years, he just waged war relentlessly.
Expanding Rome's territories massively. All the way to the Atlantic Ocean, you say?
All the way to the Atlantic. And this wasn't just about grabbing land. It brought incredible wealth, resources, prestige back to Rome.
What's so fascinating to me is that he wasn't just fighting, he was writing, controlling the narrative.
The Commentari de Bello Gallico. Yes, it was pure genius, a form of propaganda. He was shaping public opinion back home while he was still out on campaign.
Imagine getting those updates. Must have been powerful stuff.
Incredibly effective. And his big victory at Alesia in 52 BC against Vercingetorix, that really sealed his reputation.
So what made him such a great general? What were these tactics? It wasn't just about numbers, was it?
No, far from it. He was strategic. He'd often, create a justification, a pretext for invasion, like responding to the Helvetii migration.
Okay.
Then it was classic divide and conquer. He was brilliant at stopping the Gallic tribes from uniting against him.
Smart. And logistics, too. Sieges.
Masterful. Resource denial and siege warfare. Cutting off supplies, starving them out. He understood that side of warfare incredibly well.
And the engineering feats. Building bridges over the Rhine. Fleets for Britain. That sounds almost unbelievable.
It was astounding. Rapid mobilization and engineering. It showed off Roman technical skill, sure, but also Caesar's logistical planning, attacking where they least expected.
But there was a darker side, too, right? The psychological warfare.
Oh, definitely. Brutal stuff. Massacres like the Usipetes and Tencterai, destroying Avaricum deliberately. It wasn't just about winning battles, it was about terror, intimidation.
And staying put. Winter campaigns.
Yes, establishing a permanent presence, signaling that Rome wasn't just raiding, they were there to stay. He also innovated with naval tactics against tribes like the Veneti.
And those trips crossed the Rhine and the Channel. More than just exploration.
Pure power projection. Cross-border demonstrations, showing everyone just how far Roman power could reach.
This guy sounds like an unstoppable force. But that ambition, that must have worried people back in Rome.
Deeply. Especially after Crassus died and Pompey turned into a rival. The Senate eventually ordered him, disband your army.
But he didn't. 49 BC. The Rubicon.
He crossed it. That small river was the legal boundary. Bringing his legion across was an act of insurrection, civil war.
And that's where we get the phrase crossing the Rubicon, the point of no return.
Exactly. It plunged Rome into chaos. He beat Pompey decisively at Pharsalus in 48 BC, became the undisputed leader.
And then Dictator Perpetuo. Dictator for life. in 44 BC.
That was the final straw for many. It flew in the face of everything the Republic stood for: shared power, term limits.
His reforms, like the calendar, were useful, sure, but centralizing all that power,
It alarmed the senators. They saw him fundamentally destroying the Republic.
which led directly to the Ides of March, March 15th, 44 BC, assassination.
By senators, including Brutus and Cassius, they genuinely thought they were saving the Republic, restoring the old ways.
But the irony is just staggering, isn't it?
Completely. His death didn't restore the Republic. It triggered more civil wars. And ultimately, it paved the way for the empire he seemed to be building.
So his legacy isn't just conquest. It's that fundamental shift.
Absolutely. He laid the groundwork, changed the very nature of power in Rome. His name became synonymous with emperor, Kaiser, czar. He made personal ambition, backed by military might, the path to ultimate control.
Okay, so Caesar lays the groundwork, maybe unintentionally. Now let's talk about the man who actually built the empire, Augustus.
Right. Born Gaius Octavius, September 23, 63 BC. On the Palatine Hill, no less.
From a respected family, but originally plebeian, right? Though they rose to patrician status.
Yes, partly through those connections to Caesar. His mother, Achaia, was Caesar's niece. So Caesar was his great uncle.
And he got a good education, Latin, Greek, oratory.
The standard aristocratic training. He apparently first impressed Caesar giving a funeral speech for his grandmother, Caesar's sister.
And Caesar clearly saw potential. Prefect of Rome at 15, going on campaigns.
He did. But then, boom, Caesar's assassinated in 44 BC, and the will changes everything.
Caesar adopts Octavian posthumously, makes him his heir.
Exactly. Heir to his vast fortune, 700 million sesterces, an unimaginable sum, and crucially, his name and political legacy. And Octavian is just 19 years old.
Wow. So here's where it gets really interesting. You said, what did he do?
Well, his advisors apparently told him, lay low, stay safe in Macedonia. But did he listen? No.
He went straight to Rome.
Immediately sailed for Italy, boldly claimed the inheritance, the money, and started calling himself Gaius Julius Caesar. An incredibly audacious move for a teenager, shows that ambition right away.
You can see the leadership emerging, raising an army from Caesar's veterans.
He needed it. Rome was a mess. Mark Antony was powerful, but he'd pardoned Caesar's assassins, and his relationship with the Senate was terrible.
A real viper's nest. How did Octavian navigate that?
Very shrewdly, he actually managed to peel away 2 of Antony's legions. Money talks, right?
Huh, right. Then he sided with the Senate against Antony.
Initially, yes. Defeated Antony at the Battle of Mutina in 43 BC. But here's the twist. Both consuls leading the Senate's forces died in that battle.
Leaving a power vacuum, which Octavian promptly filled.
You got it. The Senate thought they could sideline him now, asked him to give up his army. He said no, marched on Rome, demanded they make him consul.
Wow. He learned fast. Military power equals political power.
Absolutely. And forced them to repeal the decree against Antony. Then he forms the second triumvirate with Antony and Lepidus.
And this one was different from the first.
Totally different. This was official. A legalized dictatorship sanctioned by Roman law for 5 years. And their first act. Brutal.
The prescriptions.
Yes, they published lists: 300 senators, 2,000 equites. The wealthy knightly class declared them outlaws.
Basically a hit list to eliminate enemies and seize their wealth.
Precisely. To fund the war against Brutus and Cassius. It was ruthless but politically effective.
And around this time, Caesar is deified, made a god.
Yes. Which allowed Octavian to add Divi Filius, son of God, to his name. Hugely important for legitimacy in Roman eyes. He's claiming divine backing now.
So the triumvirate defeats Brutus and Cassius at Philippi in 42 BC. What happens next? They carve up the empire.
Pretty much. Octavian gets the west, Antony the east, Lepidus gets North Africa, though he's sidelined fairly quickly, out by 36 BC.
Leaving just Octavian and Antony. The final showdown seems inevitable.
It really was. They tried compromises. Octavian even married his sister, Octavia, to Antony. But Antony's relationship with Cleopatra in Egypt became the wedge issue.
And Octavian used that propaganda.
Brilliantly. Painted Antony as having gone native, lost his Roman virtues, become enthralled by an Eastern queen. Very effective back in Rome.
And it worked. The Senate declared war.
On Cleopatra's regime, technically, but everyone knew it was against Antony, 32 BC.
Leading to the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. The big naval victory for Octavian.
Decisive. Antony and Cleopatra fled, later committed suicide. And just like that, Octavian, still only in his early 30s, is the sole undisputed master of the Roman world.
So what does this all mean? He learned from Caesar's mistakes, didn't he? Didn't just declare himself dictator.
Exactly. That's the key. He was incredibly shrewd. He consolidated power slowly, piece by piece, creating the Principate.
The Principate.
Yeah, he maintained the appearance, the illusion of the Republic Senate, consuls, assemblies, but he held the real power. He called himself Princeps Civitatis.
The first citizen. Very clever. Not king or dictator.
Precisely. It was a masterful political balancing act, and it worked incredibly well.
The Senate gives him the title Augustus in 27 BC, and Princeps.
Yes, and later Imperium Maius, supreme command. But it was gradual. This careful approach ushered in Rome's golden age, economy, arts, agriculture, they all flourished.
And expansion continued.
Significantly. Portugal to Syria, plus conquests in Spain, Switzerland, Germany, Austria, the Balkans. He also managed a temporary peace with Parthia, a huge diplomatic win.
He sounds like a real state builder, too. Police, firefighters, the Praetorian Guard.
Yes, institutionalizing things that hadn't been formalized before. Tax reforms were huge, stabilized rates, boosted the treasury massively.
And those laws about families and adultery, exiling his own daughter.
He was serious about them, trying to restore traditional Roman values, boost the birth rate, tax incentives for big families, penalties for childless couples. Exiling Julius showed he applied the rules even to himself, or appeared to.
And the building projects. Temples, forums, baths. Supporting the Pantheon.
He transformed Rome's physical appearance, that famous quote, "I found Rome a city of bricks and left her clothed in marble." He really did.
And changing the month's name to August. A bit egotistical, maybe.
Maybe a bit, but it's stuck. His reign kicked off the Pax Romana, that 200-year period of relative peace. That's his defining legacy.
He died in 14 AD, age 75. Any controversy around his death?
Some whispers. Natural causes is the main theory. But there are stories about his wife Livia poisoning him to ensure Tiberius succeeded smoothly. Or even assisted suicide. We don't know for sure.
His official last words were the City of Bricks line.
That's the official version. There's another, maybe more personal one floating around. Have I played the part well, then applaud as I exit. Which kind of fits his persona, doesn't it? The master strategist managing appearances right to the end.
It really does. So the lessons from Augustus? It's not just about grabbing power, it's about keeping it, shaping it.
Absolutely. Strategic patience. Masking autocracy with republican forms. Building consensus through stability and prosperity. He showed that quiet consolidation could be far more effective and lasting than Caesar's overt dominance. He really defined what it meant to be a Roman emperor.
Okay, from the master strategist to, well, someone very different, Nero.
Nero, yes. Definitely the most controversial, maybe the most infamous. Born Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus, December 15th, AD 37.
His mother, Agrippina the Younger, was Caligula's sister, so imperial blood there. But his father, not so great.
Described as loathsome in every respect, yeah, and Nero's early life was rocky. Exiled by Caligula, inheritance gone.
But Claudius brought them back.
Yes. When Claudius became emperor in AD 41, and then Agrippina, who was incredibly ambitious, married Claudius in AD 49.
And got Claudius to adopt Nero.
In AD 50, pushing aside Claudius's own son, Britannicus, setting Nero up for the throne.
And then Claudius conveniently dies in AD 54. The mushroom story.
Right. Many historians suspect Agrippina poisoned him, can't prove it, but the timing was perfect for Nero. He becomes emperor at just 16.
16. What's surprising, though, is that his early reign wasn't bad. A golden age, even.
Relatively speaking, yes. Guided by excellent advisors, Seneca, the philosopher, and Burrus, the praetorian prefect. Nero seemed kind, approachable initially.
He promoted arts, cut taxes, gave the Senate some power back.
He did, and he put on lavish games and spectacles, chariot races, gladiatorial contests, plays, kept the population happy. He was quite popular at first.
But then, things went downhill. Fast, starting with his mother.
Their relationship became toxic. Agrippina tried to dominate him, control him through the throne. Nero pushed back, had her removed from the palace in AD 55.
And then the first real act of violence. Britannicus.
Poisoned him at a dinner party. A clear message. Partly removing a rival, partly warning his mother not to interfere. Chilling stuff.
And then he went after Agrippina herself. Multiple attempts.
It's almost farcical if it weren't so grim. First, a trick boat designed to collapse at sea. She swam ashore.
Incredible.
Then, a plan to have her bedroom ceiling collapse on her. That failed, too. Finally, he just sent an assassin, Anicetus, in AD 59. Stabbed or clubbed her, reports vary. Nero then claimed she'd committed suicide.
Just unbelievable. And his wives didn't fare much better.
No. He ditched his first wife, Octavia Claudius's daughter, who was popular for Poppaea Sabina, had Octavia exiled on false charges, then murdered in AD 62.
And Papiano D, the story about him kicking her.
Yeah, in AD 65. Reportedly kicked her in the stomach during a fight when she was pregnant, killing them both. Again, sources differ. Maybe she died in childbirth, but the story stuck, adding to his reputation for cruelty. He later married Statilia Messalina after conveniently getting rid of her husband.
It's just one grim story after another. And then, the event everyone knows, the Great Fire of Rome, AD 64.
July 18th, a massive fire, raged for 6 days, destroyed huge parts of the city.
And the rumors started immediately. Nero did it. To clear land for his palace, played his lyre while Rome burned.
Right. The lyre, not the fiddles, didn't exist. Now, Tacitus, who really disliked Nero, actually says Nero rushed back to Rome and helped with relief efforts, opened his grounds to the homeless.
So maybe he didn't start it. Or play the lyre.
It's very unlikely he started it, and the lyre story is probably myth. But the perception was there. He needed a scapegoat.
And he chose the Christians.
Yes, a small, misunderstood, and generally unpopular sect at the time. An easy target.
The descriptions are horrific. Tortured, crucified, thrown to animals, burned alive as human torches.
It was appalling. A truly brutal persecution. Peter and Paul are thought to have been martyred during this period.
He did rebuild Rome afterwards, though, with improvements.
He did. Wider streets, fire-resistant materials, better planning, but he paid for it with unpopular taxes. And of course, he built his Domus Aurea, the Golden House.
That massive, extravagant palace, gardens, lakes, a huge statue of himself.
Exactly, covering hundreds of acres. The Colosseum was later built right where its artificial lake was. It was a symbol of his extravagance.
Which was getting out of control, emptying the treasury, gambling.
Completely. And his artistic passions, forcing people to attend his hours-long lyre performances, touring Greece to compete in the Olympics.
Where he won't everything he entered, even chariot racing after falling off.
Yes. They even added events just for him. It was becoming a farce, and Rome was going bankrupt.
Discontent was growing. The Piso conspiracy in AD 65.
A major plot by senators and others to assassinate him and restore the Republic. He crushed it ruthlessly, forced Seneca, his old tutor, to commit suicide.
The writing was on the wall, wasn't it?
Absolutely. In AD 68, revolts broke out in the provinces. Vindex in Gaul, Galba in Spain. The Senate finally acted.
Declared him a public enemy.
Yes. And crucially, the Praetorian Guard, his own bodyguards, abandoned him. That was the end.
He fled Rome and couldn't even kill himself.
Reportedly, yes. He needed a slave to help him do it. June 9, AD 68. He was only 30.
His death ended the dynasty, right? The Julio-Claudians.
Yes, and plunged Rome into chaos again, the year of the 4 emperors. So it brings us back to that question.
Madman or just corrupted by absolute power?
Exactly.
Right.
Was he inherently monstrous, or was he a product of that system, that unchecked power Augustus had so cleverly veiled, but which Nero wielded so openly and disastrously? And remember, most of our sources were written later by people hostile to him and his dynasty. So separating fact from, well, fake news is incredibly hard.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've looked at these 3 huge figures individually. Caesar, Augustus, Nero. Wildly different paths, wildly different legacies. If we put them side by side, what does that comparison really tell us?
Well, first, look at how they got power. Caesar was the military conqueror, the revolutionary. He used his army and political deals to basically tear down the Republic and grab power openly. Dictator for life doesn't get much clearer than that.
Right. Then Augustus inherits that mess. But his approach is totally different.
Completely different. He consolidated power, defeated rivals, sure, but then he did that whole First Citizen Act, masking his authority, playing the long game, building consensus, restoring order. It was subtle, strategic.
And Nero. He just walked into it.
He inherited it. No struggle, no grand strategy needed initially, which maybe explains why he handled it so badly when things got tough.
Their leadership styles, too.
Yeah.
Caesar, the charismatic general, autocratic, decisive.
Augustus, the cautious politician, astute, focused on stability, administration, building institutions. The ultimate manager, perhaps.
And Nero starts, okay, patron of the arts, popular initiative.
But descends into erratic tyranny, extravagance, cruelty, paranoia. He lacked the discipline or maybe the vision Augustus had. The absolute power seemed to consume him.
And their impact. Caesar is the catalyst, right? The one who breaks the Republic.
Fundamentally, expanded Rome's borders massively, centralized power, and his death, ironically, sealed the Republic's fate and ushered in the empire. He changed everything.
Augustus then builds that empire. He's the founder, the stabilizer.
Considered the hero by most Romans then and since, the Pax Romana, the reforms, the sheer longevity of his rule, he created the blueprint for what a Roman emperor should be. His legacy is stability and prosperity.
While Nero,
Yeah,
his legacy is much darker, much more contested.
definitely. You have that early promise, the cultural patronage, but it's completely overshadowed by the fire, the persecutions, the murders, the excess. He's remembered mostly for the negative, the tyranny, the disastrous end. Though again, we should acknowledge the rebuilding efforts after the fire. So you see these distinct roles. Caesar, the general dictator ending the republic, Augustus, the first official emperor founding the empire, Nero, the fifth emperor, whose reign ended a dynasty and highlighted the dangers of that imperial power.
Different paths, different achievements, different ways of dying assassination, natural causes, suicide, and vastly different historical judgments.
Exactly. Caesar the catalyst, Augustus the model founder, Nero the notorious cautionary tale.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear these three, Caesar, Augustus, Nero, left absolutely massive, distinct marks on Rome and on history.
And their stories are still debated today. Understanding them gives you such incredible insight into power, leadership, politics, and just the human drama behind these huge historical shifts.
Yeah, it's a real shortcut to getting your head around a crucial period.
It really is.
So maybe something for you to think about as we finish. How much of any leader's legacy is down to their own choices, their own ambition? And how much is just being swept along by the times they lived in, or even shaped by the stories told about them later?
That's the fascinating question, isn't it? Design versus circumstance versus narrative. Lots to ponder there.